So in my last video, I came up here and I had a surprise to show you. And I spun the camera around and showed you the Polytunnel. Well, today, we've had a disaster. So it's an absolutely beautiful day today, blue skies, and the sun is coming out and it's lovely. It wasn't like that a few days ago, I can assure you. So this is the current state of the Polytunnel. It's basically ruined. It's snapped in several places. I've had to take the cloth off. Because it just didn't survive the wind. So it lasted 2 days. And you can see down here, this is bent. Up here, this completely snapped. This should be together. But it's snapped. The wind rocked it. The wind rocked it so much that a lot of the bolts came off the screws came off the bolts. All the Velcro on this side, all these Velcro ties, they all ripped out the plastic. So yeah, it wasn't good. So I was lying in bed and it got to about 10 and the wind was getting up and I thought, I'm getting a bit worried about the Polytunnel. I'm just going to go and check that it's okay. So I drove up in the dark. I came up and then as I walked to the Polytunnel, I was like, where are the goats? And I got here and this entire structure wasn't even here. The hurdles were in the middle here. The goats were gone. Goats and Capulet were gone. They had fled that shit. And this entire structure was in the hedge. So yeah, it was really bad. So I did manage to find the goats. The goats had fled off to a field, but it was the middle of the night. I couldn't do anything. So I just had to go home and hope that everything was all right. I hope the goats were sensible enough to behave. So I came up the following morning. The weather was still horrendous. I guess the wind was probably gusts of about 40 miles an hour, which actually is not that bad. So the fact that this didn't survive that is pretty awful because, you know, we get winds of up to 70, 80 miles an hour. So that wasn't even that windy. It was also a torrential downpour, but I thought I didn't want to leave this. So I managed to get the entire structure out of the hedge, back onto the ground, the stakes back in. I got all the plastic back on, and then I went inside to repair it, and the wind lifted the whole bloody thing off the ground again and into the hedge. So, as it is now, I've had to take the plastic off because the wind just gets under that plastic and rips it out. Now, part of it is bad timing. It was bad timing that the storm came 2 days after I put it up, and also the ground is super wet. So with this plastic, there is an overlay which goes into the ground. You peg the overlay down and then you put the ground over the top, which I did the whole way around. The problem was the ground is so wet that I guess the wind, because it was recently dug and the weeds hadn't had time to knit together and create kind of a denser mat, the wind just ripped the plastic straight out of the ground. The stakes didn't last either. To be honest, they're pretty awful. I hammered them in, they just split immediately. My plants are okay. This is the thing, the Polytunnel didn't survive, but my really cheap IKEA shelves did, and my lavenders are all still on top of the shelving. So the fact that they survived and the Polytunnel didn't is slightly mad. Now I did get a refund for the Polytunnel because First they said to my mum apparently that they weren't, they couldn't do for wind damage, but I don't think it's fit for purpose, because a polytunnel is most required in the colder, windier months of the year when you're protecting your plants. So if it can't even stand up to that, I don't think it's any good. So we have got a refund. I'm gonna try and salvage it. There's a big storm coming this week, so there's no point me putting this plastic back on. I could probably salvage it and repair it at some point, but I need the weather to be good, because there's no point trying to repair it if I know there's a storm coming, because it's going to damage it again. So I can probably repair it, and I could probably get it back in the ground, but I need to do some major fixing down. So what of the goats? I couldn't leave them in a field. They're not like sheep. Sheep will hunker down. Sheep have a big woolly coat. Sheep are used to being outside. Goats are not. If you just think about their kind of where they came from, where they originated from, they come from hot, drier countries. They can cope with cold, mind you, but they cannot cope with the wet and the wind. So if you see behind me, we're at the lookout, and this is where I often graze the goats. And we've cut down some trees to make some things. And some of you will know that there's a really old, and when I say old, I mean really old, caravan up here, and there it is. There's the caravan, and so there might be some new inhabitants. So this is eventually going to be, so the nuttery is over there where the turkeys are going to be. This is going to be a buddleia hedge with a willow dome that you walk through. However, we have a whole new project brewing now because of the situation which has arisen. So we're obviously going to have to clear all this bramble away. There is a little way through, and you can just see the state of this caravan. What are you doing? Hello? Hi! So now we have goats in a caravan. Hello, humbug. What are you doing? So I have spent the past 2 days ripping most of the interior out. When I say it's old, it still had gas-powered lighting. That's how old this thing is. I still need to do a lot to it. I need to paint it. I need to sand down some components. But I was worried about the oncoming weather, so I've got the goats in. They've got their little hurdles here, and I think the plan will be to extend this and eventually maybe actually put an entire proper fencing system around this. So although you'll walk through to the nuttery, there'll be this little caravan site off to the side with the goats living in it, and then they can come out into the lookout area. So this all needs painting and sanding. I have washed a few of the windows, so you can see, you can actually see through. I have hurdled off this section because this section is kind of the area that I haven't done yet. So this is actually the toilet. We don't have a toilet up at the farm at the moment, so I'm thinking I might actually put the compost toilet in there. That's the one area of the caravan that actually has stayed pretty well kept. So put the compost toilet in there. You can come and go to the loo with the goats. And then I'm thinking if I really clean all of this, and I'll wash it all down and obviously clean it and disinfect it, I could put my little camping stove here so that I can come and make a cup of tea, and then I can come and sit with the goats, which will be quite nice. The other thing is there's quite a lot of areas up here to hang stuff on, so this will be a good area to keep food under here and stuff. It's obviously hurdled out the way, so it'll be a useful area that we can come and hang out in. And then this is the goats. So they seem to be loving it, as you can see. They're all chilled out. I've taken most of the panels off this side because this is the side where most of the cabinetry that I pulled out came from. It was similar to this side but more rotten, so I pulled that all out, and I've taken the wall panels off. I've taken most of the ceiling panels off. There's a little gap here, as you can see. The whole roof had caved in, so I've done some repair work and just strengthened it to push it back up, but it remains to be seen whether that's going to be a big issue with water. I could just get a tarp and put it over there for now and then do some repair work on it. But you can see how chilled out the goats are. So I think this was a good move. So this has basically spawned an entire new project, because now I'm thinking name plaques above the door, solar lights in here, maybe some really nice paintings of them or some photos in picture frames of them along this wall, window boxes, all sorts. So this will be really nice. And actually, it's very warm in here, although, you know, although I've had to basically rip out most of the insulation and there's quite a few holes, it's a lot warmer in here than it is outside. So it'll be a really good place to come in the middle of winter and kind of do stuff in here. And also when it's raining, I can come in here because not only can I hang out with the goats, like little Venom down there, hello, but I can do stuff. And yeah, I'm excited. So although we've had that mega disaster with the polytunnel, and you know, there was quite a lot of swearing happening, especially when I was soaked through to the skin and I'd hardly had any sleep and it was windy and I got the whole thing on and then it just blew off. If you'd been standing in the right place, upwind of me, you would have heard quite a lot of bad words. But from that, let's be positive. From that, we now have this, and probably that polytunnel was salvageable. Why are you eating that? What are you doing with that? Huh? Why do you like that so much? You cute? Yes, you are. So it's been quite the week. What with getting the polytunnel, losing the polytunnel, and then sorting this place out. It's been a little bit mental, but I hope that it will all come together, and actually they love it in here. So as long as I can just get it painted, make it safe for them, then we should all be good. So thank you for watching the video. As always, please hit that thumbs up button if you've enjoyed it and hit subscribe so you can see the project as it continues. I've got loads more videos on this channel about the goats, so if you want to watch those, I'll put a link up above. If you're on Facebook, please come and join us at Brimwood Farm's community group. But for now, I should say goodbye. Bye-bye.